Good afternoon. I'm Senator Kristin Phillips-Hill, and I have the privilege of representing the 28th District, which covers the largest portion of York County, and I'm incredibly grateful for the support of my colleagues as we look not only to fight the opioid epidemic, but end it, because opioid abuse affects every Senate district, it affects every neighborhood, and unfortunately way too many families locally in my district and across the Commonwealth. Today, we are reaffirming our efforts and building on the measures enacted into law that are beginning to pay dividends, like the Pennsylvania Drug Monitoring Program. We're listening to the people on the front lines back home, and these measures reflect what we've heard from our communities. And their message has come through loud and clear. They need these bills for the additional options and tools and resources needed to curb opioid abuse and misuse. Legislation that I've sponsored and is co-sponsored by so many of my colleagues who stand with me today will provide those additional tools and resources to combat opioid abuse and overdoses in Pennsylvania and improve the health and welfare of our constituents. My Senate Bill 223 will allow our first responders and EMS providers to leave a dose of the life-saving naloxone with family members or friends who are caring for a recent overdose victim. In my district, the time it takes our hardworking first responders, who are already asked to do so much with so few resources, they're called to these rural areas to respond to an overdose and often repeatedly have to go back on multiple occasions. In the instance of an overdose, minutes can mean the difference between life and death. In fact, Southern New York EMS told me that they had to return to the same residence twice in the same evening to revive a person who experienced a second overdose. Unfortunately, at that time, there was no provision in law to allow Southern New York EMS to leave a dose of naloxone with the caregiver. Senate Bill 223 will change that. Adding this tool will allow the caregiver or someone who overdosed to give that life-saving drug to that individual and hopefully get them into the treatment program that they need. My other legislation, Senate Bill 432, will allow for Medicaid managed care organizations to have access to the prescription drug monitoring program so that they can have greater oversight of prescriptions to prevent addiction and identify and prevent fraud to stop abuse. Unfortunately, we have found that people who are on Medicaid are 10 times as likely to be addicted to an opioid than people in the general population, and we need to help them. Additionally, we need to give every tool available to the people who are on the front lines of this battle, not only because the pain of losing a loved one, a friend, a coworker, or a teammate is so incredibly detrimental, but because the societal costs of addiction are so great. I'm thankful to stand here with my colleagues to support all of these measures to help put us on that path to recovery and prevent future addiction and additional tragedies from occurring. Thank you so much.